Hey, it's Tom ZEEB'S with Traction Real Estate Mentors, and in this quick video, I want to talk about the one thing that might make a major difference as to whether you succeed or fail in this business. Keep it rolling and stay tuned. I had a very long chat with my students on one of our training calls last night, and the topic came up about why it is that some people fail and some people succeed, and what's the major key and what's the big difference. Well, it's interesting. It's quite simply, are you going to do it and are you going to carve the time out to do it? And what I compared it to was yesterday I did a hike where in Maine, I had a hike out to an island, and you had an hour and a half before and an hour and a half after high tide to be able to get there, because a sandbar appears at low tide. Sorry, hour and a half before and after low tide, so the tide was low enough where you could actually get out to this island. And you had to not fool around when you're out there. You had to go hike, do what you need to do, and then come back before high tide came back and washed away, covered up what the bridge was. If you don't make it back in time, you'd wind up stuck on that island, either overnight or at least 12 hours till the next low tide, or you could call, I guess, and have somebody come out on a boat and rescue you. That would be expensive and super time consuming. And it was interesting watching other people hike. Nobody screwed around. When it was time to go, everybody was heading back towards the land bridge to make sure that they made it. Because if you don't, what would happen? You'd be completely stuck. Now think about what that would be like. Think about what that would be like in your business. What if you had to do it? What if there was like a time certain that you had to do and you got it done, because otherwise that window would close? I think what happens too many times with people is that there's a window of opportunity, but they don't take it because you think that window is going to be there forever. You never think that you are going to run out of time. That's a major issue for people. Think about it. What if you always said, wait a minute, that I have a limited window of time and I need to take advantage of this opportunity and actually get it done, and then go ahead and do what you got to do within that window of time. That's why it's interesting. When I have people come to me, they want to join my program, and they're worried about the time commitment. Most people are like, hey, Tom, this is going to take a lot of time. I don't have full time. I can't treat this as a full-time job. I always smile and I'm happy, because it's slightly the opposite of what you think, but having more time makes it less likely that you'll succeed. Think about that for a minute, because it doesn't sound logical. Having more time available makes you less likely to succeed. The people that come to me with all the time in the world, they're unemployed or they're between jobs, or they just have a ton of time to dedicate to it, they never seem to dedicate enough time to it. They wind up turning on yet another TV show, playing yet another series on Netflix. They wind up wasting most of their time rather than taking advantage of the little bit of time that they have. So when you have too much time, you tend to not do anything. When you have just a little bit of time, you'll take that time very seriously and commit to doing what you got to do in that small time window. Now, what's my point in all this? I want you to pretend like you don't have that much time. What if you had a serious deadline and you had to get things done by a certain point, by a certain time? I want you to either make that happen or have a false time constraint on that happening, because then maybe you'll finally take the steps you need to do. What if every week you say, I have 2 hours to commit to this business. I'm going to focus on my marketing. And what if every week you said, I have a half hour where I'm going to make my outbound calls? If you did that, think about what would change for you by putting those kind of time constraints on what it is that you're doing. Because maybe the problem is you don't feel any time pressure. Deadlines get things done. Now, I admit, nobody likes a deadline, but deadlines are what get things done. So if you are lacking a deadline in your life, in your business, then why don't we put one into place and make that happen? That's one of the big things my students get from working with me, is because I give them deadlines. Because it's one thing for you to set a deadline, because you'll ignore your own deadline and you'll roll right over and forget about it and reschedule and forgive yourself. But when you have to answer to a coach, that doesn't happen as much. So if that's you and you need that kind of help, contact me. Either put a comment in the comments below if you're watching on Facebook, or click respond to the email. Click reply to the email if you're watching online or you're seeing this on YouTube. It could be that simple. That might be just what it takes to finally get you moving to what it is you say you want. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button below and share it with someone else just like you, because that's how I meet more great people just like you. And if you're watching via email or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and click on the reminder bell, and then you'll be notified every time I release a new video. For Traction Real Estate Mentors, it's Tom ZEEB'S from somewhere in northern Maine at a lovely covered bridge. Signing off.